is. Song 8, God is, muting the mic. All right, Mike is back. So we just finished God is. Any comments?
Yes. So TJ commented on water. It says, seems like imagery of baptism for me and purity.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was thinking about baptism.
Okay. So God is. What surprised you?
His voice.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. It's not auto-tuned.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't particularly care to hear Kanye sing. This is what I'm discovering. I can appreciate his passion, but listen, it's not work for me. I am not surprised though, because we talked earlier about hip hop, always, not always, but often borrowing and sampling. And so I think that this song in particular will resonate with a certain group of folks because it is a gospel standard. It is a Hawkins song. If you grew up in church anytime after like 1978, you have sang this song, you know this song. So I think it'll resonate a certain way with some folks just because of what it is.
What it is, exactly. This is my least favorite song on the album. Lord forgive me,
I think the Lord is all right. I don't love most of it.
Right, yeah. That was literally all my comments was just how much I don't like this. Just how he sounds. The content is cool, but I mean, it's kind of put you in the corner where it's like, bro, like the song, or Lord forgive you. You know what I mean?
Frantic and screechy, and it's a lot of these things. And again, I love the original song because I'm a church kid, right? This is what you do. But so it evokes a certain amount of emotion by hearing this song.
Respect and vulnerability.
I just don't love his
We don't
vocals.
have to be good at everything.
No, this is true. Listen,
you don't have to be good at everything.
We have go ahead, Seth. Go
I
ahead.
think there's a few layers I want to talk about in this song. I think first when he talks about worship Christ with the best of your portions, but earlier in the album he's talking about the tithe. He's increasing the prices because he got oh snap, I gotta give my 10%. Then he's like, worship Christ with the best of your portions, the first fruit. Okay, cool. So then this is where my struggle came in. I think this is probably where Kanye in the album is really like showing his conviction about his faith. But this is my struggle. So I got an imagery of Luke 4:18 when Jesus goes into the temple and he talks about the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. And he quotes Isaiah. He said to preach the gospel to the poor, release the captives, proclaim the favorable year of the Lord. And he's talking about this is not a religion, it's a revolution. Jesus came to open all the prisons. But then you align yourself up with somebody who in the White House who is kind of like the opposite of what you're rapping about. I feel that conflict, I feel that tension where you're saying, Jesus is revolutionary, but at the same time, you're kind of like stalling the revolution a little bit.
I'm going to say something and it's going to be on film and I can't even deny it, right? There is that piece though, and I don't necessarily consider it genuine, but there is that piece about that second chance bill that just came through and all that sort of stuff that's supposed to help folks that have recently been released from incarceration. Kanye's wife had some things about folks in their release and all that. I don't know necessarily that the person that put that forward was genuine. I don't think they were. So maybe that's Kanye's nexus to that kind of like thing. I don't believe I just said that aloud.
Okay, so a couple things for me. I think there is, earlier in the album, he said, love your neighbor, right? So I think the premise of where he's trying to come at is from that. But then I think the other part, just in general, is this idea that, again, as I lead with my faith, God can turn any situation around and he can use anybody, right? So I think this idea of, again, this whole challenge of ego, I think this is the challenge of also putting that God's plan will always prevail and he will use who he needs to use in order to make his. So I think there is this contradiction of, but even when he said earlier about he is the strength in this race that I run. So I think he's also recognizing that this power. So like the same way you talked about grace earlier, he's recognizing he's powered by God and the confliction of like he's now the voice. Like even when he referenced, we got the young people on our side. So I think to your point, he's at this place like, okay, God is using me. What's going on, and how do I reconcile with who I was, how people perceive me to be, what I believe I'm being called to do, and all of that is just like coming together at once. It's kind of my
That's deep.
comments.
So Brittany says she unexpectedly enjoyed his voice in this one. It's intentionally vulnerable and weak.
I put that on my notes too. I do respect the vulnerability and bareness of it.
Those are words.
TJ says, him including God is after water, if going with the baptism imagery, feels like his true acceptance of God.
So we're going to transition to song 9, Hands On, featuring Fred Hammond.